begin tonight with the countdown to round 2. We are just 4 days away from round 2 of the Kelly Cup playoffs. It's Toledo Walleye, Fort Wayne Komets. By now you know the story. It's a simple one that even a caveman lawyer could understand. Playing in Toledo good, playing in Fort Wayne bad. The voice of hockey in Toledo, Matt Melzak, joined us in studio yesterday to provide a little more articulation on the subject at hand. If you are a viewer of this segment during the season, we have talked about one team and other than the Walleye, more than anyone, and that is the Fort Wayne Komets. And here we go. We've got them right where we thought we would get them. Round 2, Fort Wayne, Toledo. You're confident. I know you are.
Well, I try to be, and I always look at the way stats are, and sometimes you go, okay, Toledo was 2-5-1. That was the record.
2-5-1.
You can't argue the record. It is 2-5-1. But then you go back and you start to break down those games a little bit. Okay, Toledo played the first game of the season at Quad City. They got in at 5 in the morning, had to play Fort Wayne, who did not play the night before, and lost. Okay. True. You get that. That's a scheduling thing. Not only that, they played on Thanksgiving in Fort Wayne, which is always a big-time game there, and played the night before against Cincinnati when Fort Wayne did not play. And, oh, by the way, then they had to turn around and play on New Year's, December 31st at Fort Wayne. Now, they lost all 3 of those games. They were in Wheeling the night before. It's only, Eric, about 5.5 to 6 hours to go from Wheeling over to Fort Wayne. Yeah. So, you got to start factoring those things in. Then you look at the one of the losses at home was a morning game. I mean, those are toss-ups anyway. Toledo won one of those. They played each other twice, morning games in Toledo. So you take those out. You look the one game where they played on a Friday night with no games before, nobody going crazy traveling, and it was a 3-2 shootout loss for Toledo in Fort Wayne. Then you look in January, they played each other in Toledo. There was no crazy traveling involved. Toledo won. Then you look back, the last game of the year at home, Fort Wayne won. So the way I can look at it is, and maybe it's manipulating the numbers a little bit, as we can do. We are in the broadcast world. But I would say you're 1-1-1 against them in those contests that aren't filled with other aspects of the game. Okay, so that's a great way to look at it, and I'm sure that's how Toledo hockey fans will look at it. But I'm more of a worrier. I worry a little bit. So I look at that win column on the road at Fort Wayne, and I see the goose egg. That concerns me. But it also tells me the importance of home ice. And if it comes down to it and they still get a goose egg on Fort Wayne, as long as they protect home ice, they got the series. Well, let's go back to 2015, Eric. The two teams played each other in the second round. It was to see who could advance to the Eastern Conference Finals. Toledo had home ice. Toledo went 4-0 at home. Mm-hmm. They went 0-3 on the road. Mm-hmm. So that's part of the reason why you play for home ice during the course of the regular season, is so that you do have that opportunity to start at home, and Toledo gets that on Saturday and Sunday, and then they have the opportunity to finish at home. And with the proximity of the two teams, we can do a 2-2-1-1-1 format, which is fantastic, meaning that after Game 4, you get that opportunity to come back home for Game 5. So I love the way this series is at. You look at last year where Toledo took 1 out of 2 in Fort Wayne and came back and won it in Game 5. So to me, you look at that home ice could be very key in this series. Toledo won 28 times this year at home. It's no fluke. Right. Now, with that said, we look at the matchup, and obviously a couple of things stand out to me, and I know there's more that stand out to you. I mean, Pat Nagel, this is going against a team, obviously, Mike Ambach. These are two guys that we know are huge parts of what we do. Obviously, Pat Nagel, incredible. Going up against guys and a team and a rink that he knows, I got to think it plays into their hands, even though it didn't show that in the regular season. Well, it could go both ways there. Pat Nagel also knows a good majority of the players he's going against. He knows their tendencies. Where does Sean Sidlowski like to shoot? He knows. Mm-hmm. He's seen it in practice for years. So that can go either way. Sure, Fort Wayne, some of their scorers are going to have advantages of, well, they know he goes, maybe he goes down a little earlier. They have all of that. And a lot of times, scouting reports will give you some of that stuff too. But, I think there certainly is going to be some momentum on either side to try to beat the other, because of the fact that you do have Mbach, you do have Nagel trying to beat their former team. On the other side, you've got those Fort Wayne guys that have played with Mbach and played with Nagel that are trying to ousted them out of the playoffs. Sure. So I think it's going to be a fun series. There's those little side stories that'll be pretty neat in this series.
And we cannot wait. And once again, here is a look at the schedule. It all starts this weekend here in Toledo as the Komets come to town. And then in that 2-2-1-1-1 format, 2 games on the road at Fort Wayne, May 2nd and May 4th. And then if necessary, game 5 back here in Toledo, game 6 at Fort Wayne, and game 7 back downtown. Now, all games, whether home or on the road, are on BCSN, and as we mentioned, it all starts on Saturday. Puck drops approximately 7:35. Coverage starts at 7:30 right here on BCSN. Fort Wayne, Toledo, round 2 of the Kelly Cup playoffs.